Welcome everyone to another episode. Well, it's not really an episode. It's the intro.
Well, it's the intro to the episode.
It's the intro to the episode. We're in my house the day after our interview with Nathan Orchard. How was that, John?
Man, I thought it was awesome. I was, it was a whole good vibe. He was a good instructor. It was great, and I liked it.
Yeah, we had a seminar before we actually went and did the interview with him. We did the seminar, and then directly afterwards sat down, had everything in there. You guys will see we're sitting in the gym and did the interview, man, like right afterwards. The seminar was kind of like introduction into leg locks, right? Kind of like how to get to the honey hole and how to get into certain positions. And it was great. I was really happy with it. It was so good. John got something that took more than 2 steps.
That's true. That's how you know the instructions good.
I was like, he did it. It was what was it? It was like and it was a roll too. Like you had to roll under.
Yeah.
And he had to roll under, grab leg, go to leg lace, and John performed it perfectly. And instantly, we just looked at each other. We're like, bro, that just happened.
That's how you know it was a good one. It was, I like the way he set us up with the whole intro and showing how really it's just a pass. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was
great.
It was I keep saying I'm trying to stop. But the way he demonstrated each move, he also showed how it's in another position. So when he was showing us the kind of calf crunch, how it was a knee drag position, like you just drag the knee and then boom, you're there. But we entered it from single leg X, and it was interesting because he has such philosophy behind everything that he says, and he quotes a lot of like Bruce Lee and who's the guy that wrote The Art of War?
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, he quotes him a lot. He's a very, very intellectual person when it comes to explaining what he's doing and why we're doing it. So that was super interesting, and it added a whole different dynamic to learning from someone.
Yeah, and then rolling with him afterwards.
I wouldn't even say it was rolling.
Yeah, I hope. I'm sure he didn't even get a beat of sweat.
Oh man, like, I was like, all I got to do is just protect my legs. There's no protecting your leg. He's a world class combat jiu-jitsu, former professional MMA fighter. Has a move in the 10th Planet system named after him. The Dead Orchard is named after Nathan Orchard. And it was just, I thought I was going to put up a bigger fight than I did.
No.
There was no fighting.
No.
It was all me just getting destroyed for 5 minutes. Yeah. And I loved every second of it.
Yeah, what I like too is he was just so good. He's not a giant guy or anything.
Yeah.
It didn't even matter in the slightest.
Right.
Then I felt like I couldn't use my feet at all. Like I didn't want to go for any spiders. I didn't want to put my foot in his hip. I was like, "What do you do? All my stuff's gone."
I felt kind of bad because when he was grabbing my legs, I was like, "All I got to do is just kick him away. I just got to kick him away." And my phone's going off.
Don't worry, it was just your ESPN alert.
Yeah, I just had to kick him away, and he even said that he's like, no, Billy said afterwards, like, "You did a good job." Keeping your legs away from him. I feel like I didn't do that, and I felt bad for Billy because Billy literally, it was bump fist,
tap,
bump fist, tap. And watching people before me roll with him, I realized like just try my hardest not to give him my feet or my legs. No, man, it was good, and it kind of like what he talks about, right? It kind of gives perspective on what's possible.
Oh yeah, for sure. And honestly, when I watched him roll with Billy, he taught Billy a little move during that roll, and I was like, "Ooh!"
Knee on belly to heel hook.
No, it was knee on belly, and how you just like roll out of that. Like when they have the knee on belly on you, it was a different escape from knee on belly that I've seen, and it was so easy. I was like, "How come no one showed me that?" And I was like, and then when they were talking about it, I was like, "Can you guys keep it down? I don't want everybody else to hear that."
Oh my god. You're going to have to show me later. Yeah, come on. But what's great is he was showing some Aikido stuff. He only formal martial arts training he says, is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And he had 10 pro MMA fights before he learned how to actually grapple and how to actually strike because he was just he did wrestling for 11 years. And so he just studies a lot of martial arts. He does like weapons, and his claim to fame recently is getting the what is it? The wrist lock takedown.
I watched it last night.
I did too.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's like sick.
He's during the seminar. He's like, all right, I can teach you guys this because I hit it on a black belt. And he's like, this is Aikido. Aikido still works at Jiu-Jitsu. You just gotta, everything's a move. You just gotta perform it. So
It's all movement.
yeah, his philosophy behind everything was amazing. So it's a great episode. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Once again, I can't believe we got to interview someone at the level that he's at, and it was great. I had so much fun, and having the seminar before and being in person.
Yeah.
There's such a different dynamic when you're in person talking to people.
And
too.
I mean, he was so cool. We're like, yeah, we're gonna drive down to your school and go drop in.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I
I'm
was
sure
like,
the vibe must be fantastic.
he's a great person, very humble, and you guys will learn a lot from him. So, but other than that, we don't have a beverage of the day. I'm just drinking coffee. We had our beverage of the day in the episode because we started drinking right after rolling, and I think this is the most we drank in an episode in a while too.
Yeah.
I think I had 2 or 3 beers, and I was like, oh, I should probably stop. So, John, you got anything else?
Don't ever bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Yep. Some housekeeping stuff. You guys will hear that in the episode. Why is that? Crazy story. But so, a couple housekeeping things. Follow us on Facebook, Elbows Tight Podcast Facebook page. Follow us on Instagram, Elbows Tight Pod, elbowstight.com. And that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys leave a 5-star review on iTunes. That's how we start getting more recognition. Our last sponsor that we had, Crown Rash Guard, is because of you guys giving us 5-star reviews and commenting and everything like that. So please, go give us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps us out being discovered. And other than that, I don't think we have anything else, right, John?
Nope, nothing.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoy the episode, and we'll catch you next time. Peace. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Elbows Tight Podcast. It's your host, Travis and John. John, how you doing today?
Real good, man. Much better now.
Why
Great day.
Why much better?
It's been a rough week. I had like 2 jaw surgeries.
That literally.
Literally. I got the bag of medication in the bag.
Damn, well, you didn't roll like that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'll pay for it
Yeah.
later. Especially that anaconda someone put on me earlier.
Yeah, he's like, he got up and it was like blood all in his
Yeah.
teeth. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
He's got like a fake tooth going on right now, right?
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah, so we just got done with a fantastic seminar with none other than Nathan Order. How you doing today, Nathan?
Good. Thank you for having me on today.
No problem at all. I know it's real awkward. The mics are kind of low.
Oh,
if you
no,
want to bring it up a little
I'm
bit.
comfy as could be.
So we have, as you can tell, we have the amazing Nathan Orchard over here from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu over in Seattle, right? That's the school that you have?
Yep. 10th Planet Seattle.
Yep. So before we go any further, though, John, what we got for our beverage of the day?
Well, we have a couple, but the one we have right now is Tropic Haze India Pale Ale, Silver City. This is a local brewery, not 3 or 4 miles from here.
Yep,
It's
right
one of
over
our
in Silverdale.
favorites.
Mhm.
They don't sponsor us at all, but we drink all their beer.
Yeah.
They should.
We
Yeah,
like
they
to talk
definitely
about it. They should at this point, but, whatever.
Hey,
The beer-
if you can make that happen, Billy's sitting behind us, but he's out of frame. But Billy, if you can make that happen, I know you got lots of connections. I would love that.
Yeah. I mean, Billy's got all the connections. But it's really good beer. It's I don't find it too hoppy at all.
I love hazy.
You got to be careful with these. They're 6.5 or 6.4% alcohol for
It'll
the little
sneak up on
can.
you.
Yeah.
But they're delicious.
What's great too is Nathan expressed his excitement right after the seminar of, I just can't wait to have a beer.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I went and I got a shower and I ate a little food, and this beer has never hit so well. I'm telling you.
Agreed.
So
I agree, man.
Silver City, baby.
Yeah, it's like back in the day we used to do like heavy like CrossFit workouts or competitions, and it's like, all right, I need to grab a beer because those endorphins are going through, and you're like, I just
No
need something
doubt.
to.
Got to level out a little bit. Yeah.
That's right.
I hear that.
So, but that's our beverage of the day. You guys know who our guest is. Nathan, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know who you are.
Well, gosh. Nathan Orchard. I'm a 10th Planet black belt under Eddy Bravo. I got my black belt about 7 years ago now, which is really weird to say. And, yeah, man, just been doing martial arts for the last 21 years. I've had 21 MMA fights. I wrestled. I've studied a little samurai sword and just, as much as I can get into just throughout my years, nunchucks and I'm working on actually, the new weapon I'm really excited about that I'm playing with is a rope dart. If you guys know what this is.
Is it like
A rope dart?
like
The
Scorpion?
rope dart. It's like scorpion. It's kind of like no. Okay.
How did you even know that?
The most
just watched the
common.
preview.
The most commonly, I think, seen is on Kill Bill. Oren Ishii, if you guys know, right before Uma Thurman has to fight the crazy 88, she fights that girl who's got the ball on a chain.
Yeah, and she's like swinging
That.
around, breaking shit.
That. And it's crazy, right? I mean, it's like a wild, wild weapon, but it's really beautiful and fun, and that's what I'm like messing with a lot right now. And got a little family out in Kirkland, Washington, and dude, just trying to live the martial arts family man life.
Yeah, during the seminar, you mentioned a lot of Aikido. So obviously, you studied in Aikido before Jiu-Jitsu, or
I've never formally studied. Really, the most formal training I've had is probably in the samurai sword. Actually, everything else is pretty much, and then training with Eddy Bravo, of course. Everything else, man, I'm like a self-taught kind of just do it myself sort of guy. I just watch a lot of videos. Like Professor YouTube is incredible. I mean, like
So you pick it up, it works, you keep it.
that's it.
I like
you know, I mean, or I try to find how it works for
Yeah.
every, like, it must work. Like anything that's been around for hundreds of years, there's got to be something really cool going on, you know?
Right.
So yeah, that's what I'm trying to get into right now. Like, I think it's really interesting. Like, again, if it's old, I'm really interested in it. Like, imagine a knife. Once a knife was invented, it never went away. It's been around. Whereas like a CD, no one's listening to
No one
CDs
uses them.
anymore, and so it's like I'm just super interested in the oldest philosophy, the oldest martial arts, the oldest weapons, the oldest books. You know what I mean? Like, because it's kind of like the filter. If it can stand the test of time, there's
That's
some
true.
truth in it.
That's true.
I like you say that. So I've never really been into karate, but I've
Okay.
been following the Karate Nerd. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've ever heard of him.
yeah,
right?
I do. I was just watching one of his
Yeah, so
side
I
videos.
love watching. It's
Yeah.
Jesse Incamp, right?
Okay, yeah.
I love watching his videos. He's very articulate.
Yeah.
I think he's funny.
Yeah.
So he's talking about karate and the roots of karate, and I was like, wow, it's pretty amazing. And like you ever heard of Bimbushi? I guess
No.
it's the original karate.
No, I've never.
So
heard
he
of that.
talked about that, and
That's
he
cool.
showed one move called the monkey steals the fruit. I never forgot the name of it,
yeah.
and it was great. But
I'm gonna go
like
check
the
that out.
oldest stuff. You can order the book on Amazon for $20.
Wow.
And it's like where karate originates. So what it used to be, Bimbushi.
Okay.
And they go through some of the old movements, and it's rough. It's
Wow.
not like go to a tournament and they do the points. It's like breaking elbows.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
And I was like, it's legit. So
Yeah.
look up Monkey Steals the
I'm
Fruit,
gonna.
the Karate Nerd, and you'll see what I'm talking
That's
about.
cool.
Yeah, it's like Roy Dean. He's a black belt in Japanese jiu-jitsu. And he
Yep.
said a big difference between them is Japanese jiu-jitsu, they use weapons. Like in order to rank up, they attack you with weapons. I was like, I don't know about that, man. I have
Any
a hard-
weapon they can find. It could be a rake. He said whatever. They just surprise
Whoa.
you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I could imagine that. I have a hard enough time just doing like Gracie self-defense and
Yeah.
deflecting punches. I'm not trying to get raked in the face. You know,
Dang.
like,
Like wax on. All right.
That's cool though. I like that.
so a big thing that you're in is combat jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Right time, right place, I guess. Not a lot of people. Combat jiu-jitsu is interesting because not a lot of jiu-jitsu guys want to do it because it's too intense, but MMA guys also don't really want to do it because it's kind of wussy.
Right.
It's like wussy MMA. Well, I've done lots of jiu-jitsu, I've done lots of MMA, and I'm just like, whatever, sure, slap me in the face. It's fine. But I was putting it together. So actually, Eddie just hit me up. I'm going to be doing, there's going to be another.
MBD.
What's that?
I said no big deal.
Yeah. Hey, dude, it's a weird life. I seriously, he went from an idol who I was like starstruck by to like my friend,
Yeah.
and it's been a crazy transition. But he hit me up, and I'm going to do another one in June.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be in my 4th combat jiu-jitsu, which no one's done that many. You know what I mean? Like I will legitimately after this next one, I think I already do have more combat jiu-jitsu matches than anyone in the world, which is
Wow.
it's cool. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's fun.
And I've watched them all on UFC Fight Pass.
Oh, nice.
So, so I stumbled upon that. I'd never
Okay.
heard of it. And,
Yeah.
I thought it was great because I was having a problem with jiu-jitsu here where we'd got into it and like some of the moves, I was like, this would never work in a fight. Like I
right.
would get punched in the face.
Sure.
I was like, I don't understand like the Berimbolo rolls and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
Yeah.
just going to get crushed.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled upon that and I was watching it and I was like, oh, that is so realistic because
Yeah.
it's, they're slapping them right upside the head. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. You're not going to try that where you're actually getting hit in the face.
Yeah, it's a lot more realistic. It's still a game,
Yeah.
but it's definitely not it pushes the pace, and it does make you. It keeps your jiu-jitsu far more honest. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I saw that right off the bat because they'd have you, like you said, some MMA fighters and purely jiu-jitsu. And I'd see some of the jiu-jitsu guys go into like a guard, and they were just getting like, I could see the shock on their face when they were getting hit.
Straight up.
And I was like, you better get some space or stand up.
Dude, I've seen some guys get mangled. Like, it was the second 155. No, it was the first time I did 170, excuse me. And I can't remember even the match, but dude, one guy walked. He looked like he just got out of an MMA fight. I mean,
Bro, they're like going
eyebrows
I've seen
cut
it.
open,
Yeah.
and I'm like, damn, dude, it's real.
That's some hard slapping. I watched a couple combat jiu-jitsu, and I forgot who it was, but one guy was a former MMA fighter and then went combat jiu-jitsu, and he went against this Japanese guy, and the first time the Japanese guy got slapped by him, he looked surprised. He's like, "Why would you do this to me?" Like I was like, he looked at the ref like, he's like,
He
"What are you
forgot.
looking
He
at
forgot
me?"
what he was doing.
Get up.
Oh yeah, combat. Damn it.
He's like, "Oh, okay." And then it was like, and then I was watching it. They realized, or they started to explain the rules. Like the ref will stop it if you're not defending yourself from slaps,
Yeah.
right? And the ref like gave him a warning, like, "Dude, he's slapping you a lot. Like and the guy wasn't like getting affected by it, but
Yeah.
he just wasn't defending it.
Sure.
Like he was, I couldn't understand. Like maybe he thought the guy was gonna have like some gentleman rules,
Yeah.
but the guy was a former MMA fighter, so he was winding up, and they
Man.
were some good slaps
For real.
And I was like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
guys.
it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts. It's true.
What's the hardest match you've had in combat jiu-jitsu?
Gosh, I mean, Wagner Rocha is a savage. He beat me in the first combat jiu-jitsu, which was a little frustrating because I'll straight up say, if it was MMA, because he won with TKO. Here's another claim to fame. I was the first person to ever be TKO'd in combat jiu-jitsu.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I'm real proud about that. No, but realistically though, I was totally not hurt at all. In fact, if you watch the video, I was like pushing my arms up in the air, hoping he would go for an arm bar so that he'd stop hitting me, because I swear to you, I knew that the strikes were not causing any kind of damage, but it looked like they were.
Yeah.
So the ref is like, "Oh my God, if you don't do something, we're going to end it. We're going to end it. We're going to end it." And I'm like, "I'm fine." And then, they end it.
Yeah.
If there were punches, I probably would have been destroyed. But in that case, I was totally fine, and it is what it is. So Wagner's tough. Cody Steele, he beat me in the finals of the second one, and he's a savage. He's a gamer, beat me in overtime. He's a tough guy. And then PJ Barch just beat me. I haven't quite won it yet. I'm coming close.
Right there.
I've taken second twice, and then I lost in the semis last time against PJ. But I don't know. I mean, I've had such difficulties in my life that I don't think people can really hurt me. They can beat me. They can't hurt me. You know what I mean? So whatever. I lose a game. Is what it is.
I don't think I could even imagine the pressure of doing that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
You got cameras on you, and everyone's watching it. I'd be like,
Do you think about that when you're doing it? That's a good like QA. Like, do you think about that? Like, because I've heard of some people, especially in like MMA, from people that I've talked to, is when it comes time to perform, they just zone everything out. They somehow over the roaring crowd or everything, they can hear their coaches. Like, is that something that happens to you too, or are you like completely in the moment and taking everything in?
I mean, yes and no. Okay, so Bruce Lee said the greatest hindrance of the execution of any physical act is the consciousness of self. Being aware of yourself and what you're thinking of yourself and what they're thinking of you, and all this self-thought, self-consciousness. And so definitely there are times where that has happened and I don't perform as well. But when I kind of just, do it for me and for nobody else, that's when I do my best. You know what I mean? It's like just my ride. And, I mean, it's hard and stuff to get out there and put your name on the line and whatever. But, well, I'll tell you, this last combat jiu-jitsu I did, so over last summer was weird. We had fires up here. There was smoke and there was riots and COVID. And I'm thinking the world's going to end at any moment. I'm like, do I shut my school down? I legitimately, went to Wyoming for 5 weeks and hung out on my family ranch out there for a little bit, just trying to like figure out what the hell to do. And so anyway, summer's weird. Things are all weird. I in my house, the way it's set up, there's actually a mother-in-law apartment that somebody else rents out. I didn't know this guy or anything. And he was having a party. and it was like midnight, you know, and I got a 1.5-year-old and a 7-year-old stepson and stuff. And so, you know, I'm like protective of my family. Well, someone slams his door so hard that it shakes my whole house. They slammed it so hard that I thought someone was breaking into my house. I thought someone kicked my door down.
Wow.
And so, you know, like I said, I study weapons and stuff. I got all kinds of stuff. Well, I have a sword right by my bed, you know. I've never moved that fast in my whole life. I jump out of my bed, grab my sword, I run out in my living room, and I'm literally thinking to myself, I'm going to cut these dudes to pieces before they kill me.
Yeah.
Or they're going to kill me. But I was ready to fight and die right there in my living room for my family. Now, granted, it was a false alarm, blah, blah,
Right.
whatever. I was paranoid. No big deal. But I tapped into something that I've been able to like tap back into, that like primal, like, oh, I will fight and die right now for my family. Mm-hmm. And so this last combat jiu-jitsu, my first 2 matches, you know, I won them both in like right around a minute or something because I harnessed that. And then my 3rd match was against PJ Barch, who I've known for years and years. And like, I couldn't harness that against him.
Right.
I was like, you're my friend. Like I couldn't see my enemy's face. And so, man, the psychological battles of high level competition are really intense, you know, let alone then you fight your friend or whatever.
Right.
You know,
What's funny is you mentioned that is because Israel Adesanya he did an interview for UFC because his fight is today between Jan Blachowicz for the lightweight title. And he was asked like what is one of his proudest moments, and it was in the Kevin Gastelum fight where it was going into the 4th or 5th round and it was just an all-out war. And he looked at Kevin, he said, "You can't beat me because I'm ready to die for this." Like he's mouthing it to him.
I've seen that.
Right?
I'm prepared to die.
I'm prepared. You know what I mean? And he said that was his proudest moment because that was the time that he was like, I flipped the switch. That was the time that I was like, and you know, he's a high level undefeated in MMA. He's has like 1 loss in kickboxing. Super high level guy, and for him to be like, that's my proudest moment, and it was, you know, deep into my MMA career. It says a lot because I don't have that yet. You know, like that's why I haven't competed because I feel like I'm just too laxed. I haven't tapped into my primal.
Yeah, but you know
what I mean?
As soon as they start trying to kill you, it'll snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it will, right? But it's just it's not like I don't want that. It's kind of like I tell my wife. My wife is she's a Christian. She loves Jesus and stuff like that. And it's not my thing. Yeah. And that's not because like I have anything against it. Sure. It's like I just haven't had that connection with it yet.
I understand.
And the same thing with like the primalness. I haven't had that connection yet. I love jiu-jitsu. I love being able to defend myself, but just haven't had that connection yet, you know? So you
don't always want it though,
yeah.
you know, too. Like sometimes that connection, like luckily no one was breaking into my house.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if they were, that would have sucked, you know? But I don't know. You should still compete because that's where you learn the best lessons.
You ain't lying because I was like, man, do I really suck at jiu-jitsu? And then I went and competed, and like it all came to me immediately.
Yeah.
Like, there was no time for me to think about, did I know the move? Did I know what I was doing? It was like
it tells the
there.
truth.
It
just tells the truth.
Right there, right then. Like I didn't even have to ponder it. It
Straight
was just
up.
done.
Yeah.
But when you told that story, I was thinking about the safety that used to play for the Redskins. I think it was Sean Taylor. I might have the name wrong.
Okay.
But they actually did break into his house, and he wasn't allowed to own firearms. So he jumped up and grabbed a machete that he kept under the bed.
Right.
And they shot him, and that was the end of it.
Damn. Well, yeah, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Escalated quickly.
No,
I was
but
like,
when he said that,
I was like,
oh,
expecting
man,
like,
this is
yeah,
like
he
the same
grabbed the
story that
machete
happened
and
to
defended
Cut
his
those
house. He's like, no, they shot him.
So all I'm saying is you need to put an AR next to the sword.
Well, I'm not saying I don't have one.
But the sword.
But what I'm saying is I didn't necessarily want to go flinging bullets through my house.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I legitimately thought at that time that I would be faster with the sword and scarier. You know what I mean? Like you got like this dude with the freaking top knot and shirtless running towards you with the sword. Like you better kill him or he's gonna kill you know.
He's like, is that dude got a samurai sword?
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. So there was some psychological warfare going on there, but yeah, lucky for me it didn't go down.
That's why you got to sleep nude too. So when you jump
Wait,
up
I
there.
do.
Me
So
too.
man, it was
They're already
it was
freaked
a
out.
mess, dude. It was just
No, it
naked
scares
guy
you more,
with a
butt
sword,
naked
bro.
grown-ass man running out through
I
the
jumped
samurai
out of bed, did the same thing. My wife's like, "Are you gonna put clothes on?" I'm like, "No. I hope it shocks them."
Exactly.
And so, what's funny is like during Billy's interview, or maybe we were just talking to him one time, and he was talking about how if he ever has to use his jiu-jitsu in real life,
I've already lost.
Yeah, everything else has failed.
Straight
you know
up.
what I mean? And it's kind of like that. Like you go to that instinct of I better grab my sword, is because probably nothing else is going to really work right now.
Yeah. I mean, hey, what? I mean, Musashi says, or it's in The Art of War. I don't know. You know, you want to you want to fight. You want to win without ever fighting.
Yeah.
Fighting is the lowest form of fighting.
Yep,
you know what
it's
I mean?
the last resort.
It's the last resort, you know? So, yeah, but sometimes you get, backed into a corner. So,
Yeah,
It's like when your hard hat saved you at work. You
Yeah.
don't want that. That's like the last thing.
Yeah, that's
like
straight
everything
up.
else has failed if you get hit in the
Oh
head.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, that's like I tell my son. He talks about what if someone picks on him at school and this and that, and should I beat him up? And I was like, no, you should. Jiu-jitsu should be the literal last
Resort.
Last
Yeah.
resort.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, if someone's being mean to you or whatever, I was like, if they punch you in the face, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if they're just being mean to you or they push you or
Sure.
something like that, don't escalate it. Like
No.
just walk away. Go tell
Yeah.
the teacher or something. Like
Yeah.
you're the bigger
It's not worth
person.
it. It's just not worth it.
right? And it's like don't escalate it if it doesn't need to be. Now, if someone physically assaults you or like there's
So
a
you're
group
saying
of
like
you,
do like Gavo if you get slapped in the face?
Ooh,
I
you went
think-
there, dude.
Man, that's,
Oh.
we're like 15 minutes in the podcast. It's already brought up.
Wait, I was just asking.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, I think looking hindsight 2020, he did the right thing by not escalating it. But he's a grown man that's a former professional MMA fighter too. But my son is 12
What,
years
I
old.
had to bring it up. It's the top. Everyone's talking about it.
We
Come
talked
on.
about it like on the mat. Remember?
Look, you know what? No, legitimately, before he came out and said anything, I said it to somebody. I was like, yo, either Gaval is, I mean, it's ridiculous to say he would possibly be a wuss because he's not. We all know that, right?
Right.
But he either got put in his place or he stepped up and used like most. He pulled it up from the deepest core part of his core to like that self-restraint.
Yeah.
Now, I would have fought
I think it was more
right
shock.
then and shocked. Well,
Yeah.
see, that's what I'm saying. It was either shock or deep discipline. Now, if it was shock, that's not a good look. If it legitimately was like, you know what, this is stupid. I'm
Yeah.
stupid. Then okay, like I actually kind of have a little bit more respect for that. But if you just got bitch slapped and then you were in shock, so you did nothing. Ugh.
I mean,
Yeah.
because honestly, I think if it was the deep inside
Yeah.
thing, then it would have never got there to begin with.
You're
He
right.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
been
I mean,
talking
yeah.
shit.
I mean, he did make contact first.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Yep.
pushed. That's what I was going to say is.
I think
It's like-
Ryan just slapped the stupid out of him, and then it
then
And then it was gone, and
yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
"Oh
And he's
shit,
like, shit, that
I
was a
shouldn't
bad
have done
idea."
that."
Yeah, and then he's like, hold on a second, this dude just slapped me. He got
Yeah.
slapped the second time. He's like, all right, no, I'm good. I'm good.
And I also am impressed. Like, whatever, Gordon. Everyone says they're gonna slap. Everyone says they're gonna do
Yeah.
something. He actually did it.
Yeah, Mike Tyson talks about that. Everyone has a game plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
right.
I'm sure it was alarming.
Yeah.
I would have been like, damn.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Did
Like
that
you
just
see
happen?
people in jiu-jitsu, right, talk a big game, right?
Yeah.
They push each
Yeah.
other or whatever,
That's
right?
what
And
I'm
then
saying.
they take it on the mat, and then someone gets heel hooked or whatever, and they're like, all right, man, respect.
Sure.
It's like very rarely do you. I think that's why the jiu-jitsu community was like so shocked by it. Like everyone had the same reaction, like, oh shit, he just slapped the shit out of him. Oh, he just did it again. You know what I mean? It's like, and then there's people out there like, I can't believe, jiu-jitsu's bigger than this. Jiu-jitsu's big. It's like they're literally professional fighters.
They're like
they
they
top
should-
of the,
honestly,
they're the top of the food chain.
You know what? It's actually kind of weird to me that everyone tried to break up the fight. Everyone should
Yeah.
have circled around them and been like, okay,
All
you
right,
guys.
I'll keep everyone
Yeah,
away.
that's
You
what I'm
guys
saying.
settle
Like,
it.
don't need to wait for
let's do-
ADCC. Let's go.
Fucking A. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're really,
Yep.
if you're really gonna put your money where your mouth is, right then and there. Like these
Right.
guys are professionals. Like
Right.
fuck it, let's get it. You
right,
know?
and you see on the social media of them always talking about like them dodging each other, or they're like, oh, I offer $1 million or 500. It's like that was free. You ain't even got to lose anything out your bank
Well,
account.
that's why I thought it was
know?
weird reading Gavo's statement, and he was like, well, he thought about somebody could really get hurt if they got into it right there, and that's why he kind of backed down. I'm like, well, I mean, you could really get hurt anytime we're on the mat. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
anytime.
think Gordon
That's
Ryan's
not a
going
good
to go
enough excuse.
easy on you when it comes to the super fight? Like, no.
Right.
Like, it's like,
No,
Well, maybe they're both geniuses, and they're just
and they're
that's a
planning
good point.
all this.
maybe they're for all we know
They
they're
have a
bust
message.
belts.
They have a
texted them
secret message, and they're like, yo, dude, okay, then I'm gonna slap you, and then we're gonna talk shit, and then we're gonna build this up, and we're gonna make jiu-jitsu huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're that. They're both really smart guys, but they're not that smart.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like I saw your post about him, but like Colby Covington, right?
Yeah.
It's like in MMA, he. If you look back at what he's said about him and the persona he's put up now, is like that's not it's not really him, but it's the persona he has to build.
Okay, so let me jump in because that's not necessarily true. Now,
Maybe.
everyone's like, oh, it's so random, Orchard. Why you call Colby Covington? I've known him since high school.
Oh, really?
We were in the same wrestling circuit. I saw this guy. I crossed paths with him tons of times, and he was kind of a dick.
All right, well, let me go ahead and I retract that.
You know
So
what
it
I'm
is his
saying?
true nature.
Kinda.
Yeah.
You know, like, look, AJ Agazarm, that's his true nature. Like, he comes off as a douche. The guy's a douche.
Yeah.
Just straight up. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't talk shit about people. I just say what's real, you know, from my perspective anyway. And, like, AJ was a dick every time I've ever seen him do anything. And kind of Colby, all I can judge people by is my personal interactions with them.
Right.
Good way to do
Not
it.
what you see on
That's
TV.
it. Not what
Yeah.
I see. And so I gave AJ the benefit of a doubt until I competed against him and did all that. And I'm like, nope, you're legitimately a douchebag. And same with Colby. I'm like, I know you.
Yeah.
You know, so like anyway, that's another thing about it. I want to like squash this old kind of not that we had beef in high school or anything. He actually had beef with my old homie through wrestling and stuff. Like they kind of like got into it. Colby was a way better wrestler than me at the time, but now I'm like, you know, all these years later, we're both kind of at the top end-ish of our sports. I mean, he, you know, obviously the UFC's, but look, a bunch of people in that, I called him out and stuff. They're like, why would Colby take a match against you who, blah, blah. I'm like, first of all, because I know him.
Right.
Okay. Second of all, what is it saying about the UFC, the skill level of the UFC, if the number one contender doesn't want to take a match against like not even the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world, just a good one.
Right.
But like I would school him in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I
So
felt that.
yeah, so like it's not. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like anyway. I hope that happens.
It's like you mentioned that, right? And we're seeing a lot in like the boxing genre now, or boxing sport, MMA transferring over to boxing, starting off with Conor McGregor was probably the biggest name that switched over to boxing for just the money fight. But now we have Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. You know,
Totally.
now we have Logan
all a
Paul
joke.
versus it's all for money, right?
Yeah.
So it's not to say that it might not happen,
Yeah.
right? But I think people are looking, especially like all these super fights and double champs. I think people are just hunting instead of being purist. I think they're just hunting for the paycheck nowadays.
Well,
you know
dude,
what I mean?
you know what? Straight up, we're entertainers.
Yeah, true.
We're
100%. I agree.
entertainers. We are there to make to entertain people and make it think it's cool and like build the sport that way. You know, if you want to be plus I'll bet you the baddest motherfucker on the earth, no one knows who they are.
Right.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, who cares? Like, great, you're the greatest fighter in the world that people know.
Yep.
I'm more interested in the greatest fighter in the world that you never heard of.
Yeah. I told my son that too. I was like, be careful, man, because there's always someone bigger and badder out there.
And you just don't know.
You just don't. Prime example, that college bathroom fight that just happened.
Oh, yeah.
Between the wide receiver at Ohio State
Boy,
and
what a
the
lesson
guy that
learned.
looked like a younger Ben Askren, right? He's like, this dude's small. I'm a big, fit guy. Got whooped. Him and his boys mopped up and down the floor.
Face
And it's
all
like-
over that
it's
pissed
like,
up floor.
That's why I tried. That's why I tried to like preach to like Charles. I'm like, you don't know who people are.
Sure.
Like, don't go picking fights. Like there's killers nowadays.
Bruh.
You know what I mean?
Not to mention, dude, it's just like in a fight, if you knock a guy down, he hits his head on the curb and he has brain damage as well. That's not worth. There's nothing worth that.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of like makes me think of a Bruce Lee quote, which I'm gonna slaughter, but it's something to the effect of, "Don't fear the man who can beat you, fear the man who can bite off your nose." You know, it's like, look, you don't have to beat everybody. In fact, or even if you do win, but you still sustain a horrible injury, like that's not worth it.
Did you win, really?
Yeah.
Did you win really? Exactly.
Right.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying.
I got a black eye from a sick knee from someone trying to
Oh, yeah,
pass
that was
my
great.
guard. It was like
I liked
it was-
looking at you
it
for
was-
2 weeks with that black eye.
It was great.
It
I was
wonderful.
like, damn, this thing my first black eye I've ever had in my life. Like I've had like a cracked nose and this and that. I've never sustained like any super like real injury. But I had this black eye, And people are like, man, what happened to your face? I'm like, oh man, I got kneed in the face. You see the other guy? They're like, really? I was like, yeah, he looks perfectly fine.
He's totally okay.
He's okay. So it obviously wasn't worth it. I got nothing out of this besides my face hurts now. You know.
Well, you look cool too.
Yeah, right.
Hey.
So going to like how you first started on jiu-jitsu, how did you start off in 10th Planet system or did you start off in gi?
No. I actually started off. So I started wrestling when I was 12. And then I wrestled for 4 years. I had my first MMA fight. I was 16.
Wow.
My first MMA fight was in 2004, which is crazy because YouTube came out in 2005.
Yeah.
Right? So this was back before, like, man, when I was trying to learn, I can't even remember if there was Google back then, maybe, but if you Googled jiu-jitsu, you'd see like an Army Combatives manual come up of picture-by-picture instruction. Like there was nothing like today, no hashtag armbar, and you can all of a sudden get all the coolest armbar techniques there are. So I wrestled, jumped into MMA, I got armbarred, and that was really what like ultimately set me off, So then I wrestled for 2 more years, got out of high school, and had 20 more fights.
Wow.
And let's see, my last fight was in 2012. So yeah, from 2006 to 2012, I had 20 more fights. And then, and 10, my overall MMA record is 14-7. I was on a 8-fight winning streak, and then I lost 3 fights in a row to just like decision, like better wrestlers. So I was like, all right, time to like get my jiu-jitsu so good that no one could stop me. So I really delved into jiu-jitsu because now there was more resources and stuff. And then I just got lost in jiu-jitsu, never went back to MMA. Plus I've had concussions. Like I don't need any more of that in my life. But, and so, 21 MMA fights. And then I decided, okay, well, I guess I better try to get ranked in jiu-jitsu. But there was no jiu-jitsu schools in my town. I'm from Grants Pass, Oregon. It's a small town in Southern Oregon. And so I Google how to get ranked in jiu-jitsu. I had no idea. Well, a thread popped up on a 10th Planet forum that kind of had like the criteria and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I can do this stuff. It was like at the time, it was get 15, because I was obviously training remotely. I wasn't at a school, but I liked 10th Planet. And so Eddie had said, look, if you're what they call a Ronin, you're just like a lone dude out there doing your thing. Post, if you can get video, you wear in 10th Planet gear or throw the 10th Planet gang sign, 15 submissions. Okay. And then you'll get ranked. So I was like, cool, I can do that. Come to find out, it took longer than I thought because, sometimes you only get 2 matches in a jiu-jitsu tournament. It's not like wrestling where sometimes you get 5 or 6 or whatever. So it took a little while, but then, so mind you, I'm still a white belt at this time. This is in January 2012. I hit what is now the Dead Orchard. Okay. It wasn't called that then. It was called nothing. And it didn't have a name, and so I hit that using some dope rubber guard against a really good 10th Planet guy. And that got me really noticed, And so I popped that on the forum. Eddie sees it. He made a little video and was like, yo, Nathan Orchard, change that white belt status. You're a blue belt now. Boom. He gave me a blue belt online.
That's dope.
Cool.
It was crazy. I was the first person he ever did that for.
So what did that, interrupt real quick, what did that feel like to first having your idol hit you up saying,
Dude.
yo, and then the recognition that your idol was posting about? Like, what did that feel like?
Dude, it was wild.
Really?
I remember watching the video and I just tingles all over my entire body. I legitimately said, oh, I got a 10 Planet blue belt. Oh, I can die happy. I can die happy. I did it. I've did
reached
it.
the pinnacle.
I'm there.
That's what he always says.
That's how I felt completely. So then to go from that to where I am, like, what? I have a move named after me. I've been in all these like cool competitions and done all this stuff and hung out with cool people and traveled the world. Like, man, I just had no idea what I was even getting into. It's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
It's a dream come true completely.
Yeah, it's like when you first started the seminar, you said, because of jiu-jitsu, I've been able to do X. You know what I mean?
Completely.
Did you ever, like, for people that don't know what a Dead Orchard is, it's
Yeah.
double arm triangle, right?
Yeah, it's a triangle with both arms in instead of one arm in, right? And then it turns into an arm bar, basically.
Did you ever think that, one, you were the pioneer of going to be a pioneer? Well, it was done before, right?
Or like an early
That's
UFC
right.
fight, right?
A guy had done it in the UFC. I mean, look, I'm sure someone had done it in ancient Greece too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just the same way that people have grabbed their leg in rubber guard, but it's different to like hit it once and then to create a system.
Right.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you then hit it consistently on top level people. So that's what I did, like, especially when I hit it on Barrett Yoshida in EBI 2, he's an ADCC medalist. So to hit that move on him, that's when it really solidified. You know what I mean? I mean, I believed in it long before that, obviously, but that's when other people started to believe in it, And now, I mean, Eddy Bravo himself said that it's the most common submission from rubber guard.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I honestly kind of like accidentally stumbled across it, and then I just kept doing it over and over again, and then realized what I was doing, and then I was able to create systems and get better at it and all this stuff. So
If I'm not mistaken, Grace just hit it in Fight to Win.
dude, she
right?
hit it all the time.
She hits it all the time.
I
If you
can't
guys
even keep
don't-
up with
What's
it.
her last name?
Gundrum?
Yeah, if you guys don't know who Grace Gundrum is, you have to look her up. She's like 16, 17 years old.
I mean, now she's maybe 18 because she's got a black. I mean,
she's a black belt.
she's a black belt now.
Oh my God, I remember watching.
maybe
her a
the
couple
youngest
years
ever
ago.
black belt.
She is a straight killer.
Yeah, they call her the silent assassin.
It is incredible, this woman's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It is insane. But yeah, I remember seeing her hit it multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And I mean, one time, Ben Saunders almost hit it in the UFC, and Joe Rogan was commentating, and he said Dead Orchard. And dude, I had people like friends from my deep past being like, Joe Rogan just said your name on the UFC, and then he said my name on a podcast. Like, dude, it's stuff that I never could have even imagined.
yeah.
I was happy with that blue belt. I could have died happy with that blue belt. So everything else has just been a cherry on top.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's like you never know where life is going to take you, right?
That's true.
Like John and I
Straight up.
started jiu-jitsu
3
years ago,
yeah.
coming up 3 years ago. And our last episode was with Roy Dean, and the first person we really started to follow was Roy Dean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. And now 3 years later, we have a podcast. We're interviewing someone that has a literal name or move named after him, Nathan Orchard, right? And then before that, we had Roy Dean, who has been like the pinnacle of like our outside entity
Sure.
of and before that we had other people, and I just would have never have expected. Never in a
I
million
remember me and
years.
Travis were in Japan, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm paying for this app for Roy Dean for $30 a month. Let's watch this and then go try it. And that's
So cool.
That's how we started.
And it's once again, it's because it's jiu-jitsu. I mean, we haven't been able to travel the world, but we've got to
You know
talk
what
to
it
a
really
lot of
is, though?
cool
I mean,
people, man.
it's just passion.
Passion,
It's going
100%.
at something with passion. Because, like I said at the seminar, if you devoted as much time to playing the piano as I have jiu-jitsu, that would take you all over the world too. I guarantee you'd get to meet high-level musicians and play in high-level places, or if you drew as much as I did jiu-jitsu or did chess, you know what I mean? Like, it's just what happens when you go all out.
Yeah.
That's it. So
The thing that you said at the beginning of the seminar that I thought was really, I might get it tattooed on me, man. It was it was great. I don't remember the last one, but it is study the sport.
Oh no, it's think street,
Think street. Yeah.
train sport, practice art.
Yeah.
Right? Because so I've actually used jiu-jitsu in the street. There was a time when I was in Portland. I had just finished a jiu-jitsu class, and with someone who it was their first ever jiu-jitsu class. And we're driving home, and they're like, so would jiu-jitsu work on the street? And I'm like, well, it kind of depends. If there's more than one bad guy, does he have a weapon? Like, what's the, I swear to you, right then and there, I look over, and I see this dude. It's like 11 o'clock at night, downtown Portland, and this dude is kicking in a store door, like a glass door, and there's some like older folks around him trying to stop him. I stop my truck in the middle of the street. I watch him for a second, see if he had any weapons, see how many bad guys there were. There was only one. I park my truck. I just stop it right in the middle of the road. I jump out. I run up to him. I push him up against the wall. I'm like, dude, stop it. What are you doing? He turns around, starts swinging on me. I drop levels. I drop levels, take him down. He shrimps into me, which was like a good reflex for him. But then I stepped over. I had a chance. I thought to myself, should I armbar him? Or should I take his back? And I'm like, well, if I armbar him, he could bite my leg.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I'm going to take his back. And I tie up his leg. He couldn't bite me. He couldn't poke me. He couldn't spit on me. I held him for 5 minutes until the cops got there, helped me cuff him up, and I went home. So when I teach jiu-jitsu, I will point out, like in a situation, I'll be like, see right here that you can't bite me, you can't poke me, you can't scratch me, you can't. I'm always thinking street while training sport, but I like it to be beautiful and fun. So that's practicing the art.
Yeah,
you know?
and you mentioned that too. It's kind of like
I like the 3, the compression. What'd you say? Compression.
There are only
joint.
3 submissions. There's either a twist, a bar, or a compression. Anything that twists goes both directions, like an inside heel hook, outside heel hook, a key lock, a kimura. A bar always goes directly against the joint, and then a compression is just isolating and squeezing, right? That's everything boils down to that. And then beyond that, first what I tell people is there's only 3 concepts in jiu-jitsu. There's transitions, positions, and then submissions. A takedown's a transition, a pass is a transition, then there's positions, then there's submissions. Then within the submissions, there's bars, twists, and compressions. So when you really break it down, it's really simple. There's not a whole lot going on,
right.
At its core. But anyway.
Yeah, and then there was another thing that you said. I was just like,
He said a lot.
I know. I was thinking the same
Where's
thing.
the video?
I was like, hold on a second.
I'm never gonna remember all this.
I was like, I brought a bunch of my camera gear because I wanted to take like some B-roll shots
Sure.
of the seminar so we can throw it in between the podcast and
Yeah.
whatnot. But none of it happened because I was just like trying to pay as much attention as
Sure.
possible. And at the beginning, you were just like when we were doing the honey. The honey, what is it called? Honeycomb or
The honey hole?
Honeycomb.
Backstep to the honey hole?
Yeah, and you're like, make sure that you put your face back because you could get punched in the face,
Exactly.
right? And it was,
Right.
I was like, this is like mind blown right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you always hear it. It's like
As I'm teaching leg locks for jiu-jitsu, I mentioned getting punched in the face.
right, and it was like. That's a great point.
Right.
And then when John and I were practicing, he was like up close. He was crunched in. I was like, I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
That's
you
it.
know, and he just scoots away. So even like the high level stuff could still work, but you have to have that
mentality
street mindset.
Yeah.
That's right. You really do.
Yeah.
And when you think street while doing sport, it actually makes your technique way better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So when you first started as a white belt, you said that you were doing most of it remotely and
Yeah.
whatnot. When you dropped in at your first school, what was that experience like?
Dude, legitimately, the first school I ever dropped in was 10th Planet headquarters. Okay?
That's quite a
It was crazy. I'm telling you. So again, I had 21, or at this point, I already had 21 fights. And I had just, my first 10 fights completely untrained. Completely just me being a wrestler, fighting. I watched the UFC. And then, like I said in the seminar, I got outstruck, so I went to a striking coach. I learned how to punch, kick. I ended up learning karate. And then, legitimately, I did not know I was good at jiu-jitsu, okay? I had no clue, all right? So I hit the Dead Orchard. Eddy Bravo gives me a blue belt online. I go down to HQ. First time I've ever done this. First time I ever went into a jiu-jitsu school. And first person I roll with at the time was Junie Browning. You guys remember him?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. He was on one of the early Ultimate Fighters.
Okay.
And he was like this guy from Kentucky, and he's like this wild fighter.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He was in the
I own
UFC.
all the old DVDs.
Okay, yeah. And he's a crazy dude. Well, I murked him, dude. It blew my mind. Okay, I
Right.
swear to you.
Right.
Well, Eddy Bravo wasn't there that night. So then I roll some other, and I'm just tapping everybody out. I swear to you. And I was like, what?
This is headquarters.
And so the next day, Eddie's in class, and Junie walks up to him. He kind of whispers in Eddie's ear, and he kind of points to me. And then Eddie goes, sir, what's your name? Well, okay, because when Eddie gave me my blue belt, the video, I had long hair and a full beard. When I went to HQ, I cut my hair and shaved my beard, so no one recognized me. So I'm like, oh, well, Eddie, you actually gave me a blue belt online 2 weeks ago. He's, oh, Nathan Orchard, oh, number one Ronin, oh, all this stuff. So then I was there for 2 weeks, and over that 2 weeks, he put me through 7 test matches where everybody would sit around and watch. He'd say, okay, Orchard versus this guy, Orchard versus that guy, Orchard versus, some of them were brown belts. And I had 2 stalemates, and I tapped everyone else out. One of my stalemates was Gio Martinez, who's
Oh, really?
yeah. So he's one of the guys that
he's
I
a super
stalemate.
high level guy.
Yeah,
now,
we actually
too.
got our black belts the same day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's
I
kind of
follow
like
him a
Yeah,
lot.
he's the man, dude.
Yeah.
He's the man, So for me to go down to HQ, like I swear it's so dorky sounding, but I'd leave a class. I'd kick ass, all right, which like was totally blowing my mind. I'd call my mom and be like, Mom.
Yeah, I'm like, who's the first
We
person
call each
you
other.
call?
Yeah.
I call Travis. Like, hey, bro, look.
Whether we get our ass kicked or we do good, like, bro, I just got murked.
Dude, I would call my mom and be like, Mom, I'm like beating guys. This is crazy. Like, it blew my mind. I'm not kidding you. I didn't know that I was good at jiu-jitsu. And so Eddy Bravo gave me my blue belt online. 2 weeks later, I went to HQ. I trained for 2 weeks. He put me through all those test matches, and then he gave me my purple belt. Wow. So I was a blue belt for a month.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then I was a purple belt, and I competed nonstop at the time, okay? I was a purple belt for 14 months, competed a lot, kicked a lot of ass, got my brown belt. I competed every month for 10 months, went undefeated at brown belt, won Gracie Nationals with a twister in the finals, and then I got my black belt, you know? So from the day I got my blue belt to the day I got my black belt, almost to the day, 2 years.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was the wrestling that helped you out?
It was the MMA. It was the wrestling, it was the MMA, because all of a sudden I was used to trying to submit people while they were punching me. All of a sudden no one was trying to punch me.
You're like,
And I'm like, this is
I can
really
relax.
easy. I legitimately.
Relax. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. And, you know, so, I mean, but look, you know, blue to black in two years, but I had 14 years of
Right.
pretty
Yeah,
intense
you had
experience.
it.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
there was-
it's not like I was really a blue belt when I
Yeah.
got my blue belt.
Well, I was just curious because I run across a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
And they're good. Like,
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
never done jiu-jitsu, but
Sure.
they're good.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Grappling
their
is
movement's
grappling.
good.
Straight up.
They're good.
That's
Movement is movement.
Movement is movement.
Movement
Grappling's
is movement,
grappling.
man.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're a no-stripe white belt. They come in here and, like, Z, right? 13 years wrestling. I'm like, great, this is going to be a challenge.
Straight
Like,
up.
I know it right off the back.
Of
like,
course.
Yeah.
Although sometimes a really good wrestler has a hard time learning jiu-jitsu because they can't stop wrestling.
Yeah, they can't be on their
It's
back
like, yo,
either.
turn your wrestling off for a 2nd and use some jiu-jitsu. So sometimes it gets in their way. You know what I mean? Of getting better. But that's the whole, like, you got to empty your cup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We were just talking about a guy. He was a smaller guy. He was probably 145, 155 pounds in Japan. We were in Japan for
3-4 months.
3-4 months at the beginning of our jiu-jitsu journey.
Sure.
Both of us were 4-stripe white belts at the time. And we were going against a wrestler, and I like going against wrestlers because it's like going against a brand new white belt because
Yeah.
they don't know anything but
Sure.
100%.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it's like
It's a good test.
it's a good test,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
do I know how to retain my guard? Because this guy's going to pass every bit of it if I don't.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And this kid was,
Yeah, he was something else.
he like jammed my thumb, like bent my thumb back or jammed it. Something messed up my thumb in our first roll. And I was like, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
You know what? I got a day job. I'm not trying to.
Sure.
There's no benefit in this for me. Second time we rolled, it was during a takedown. He jammed my
when he
thumb.
called you an old man?
Yeah, right.
In your
So-
in your 20s?
yeah. So get this right. Yeah, I'm only 31 first of
Okay,
all, and this
okay.
was like 2 years
You were in
ago.
your 20s, yeah.
Yeah. So we start the match, and I'm just sitting down, and he's standing up. He's like, "Oh, it's probably best you stay down there," because he knew he jammed my. I like stopped after his takedown because he jammed my thumb, and I was like, "No."
Motherfucker.
Like, who do you think so I got up and I tripped him and got down, and I think I tapped him like 2 or 3 times during it. But the only reason I got like those submissions is because he couldn't be on his back, so he would spaz out
Yeah.
and try to get out of there, and he would give up arms. He would like press up
sure.
against me or whatever, and I'm like, well, I wrestled a little bit in high school, but I've done way more jiu-jitsu than wrestling, so now I know once a guy reaches up, it's like,
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you.
Extended arm equals arm bar.
Yeah, exactly,
You know?
right? It's like we joke about our name, elbows tight, but honestly, the biggest thing I could tell a lot of people when they first start is keep
'em
your
in.
elbows
Keep 'em in.
close to you, like.
T-Rex arms, baby. You know what I mean?
Funny story. I actually wanted to call it T-Rex Arms Podcast at first because I
Not
heard
as
the
catchy,
Kids,
not
it's not as catchy, but I heard it in the kids' class. They're like T-Rex Arms. Like that's a great name. I was
Yeah,
like, we're grown men. I don't know. That might be funny.
No doubt. No doubt.
So if when you first started, what would be the biggest advice that you would give yourself, especially because you don't have the typical white belt journey because
Yeah.
of your MMA, but
I had a different path than
right?
most people.
So you have such a different aspect and perspective on your jiu-jitsu journey because of it. Would you change anything because of it?
Oh, hell no. Look, dude, one of the reasons, so one of my favorite songs in the whole world is Giorgio by Marauder by Daft Punk.
We listen to a lot of it.
That's why we listen to Daft Punk today. I love Daft Punk.
They just broke up 21 years.
I know.
Man. That's crazy.
Right? Okay, so Giorgio, anyway, there's a line he says where he basically says, look, no one ever taught me what to do or what not to do. So I was free of concepts. I was free to do whatever. And so that's why my jiu-jitsu is what it is because no one ever told me what to do and no one ever told me what not to do. So it's like really, really my expression. So, I just don't think I would have gone as far or been as creative if I was limited like that, But at the same time, like it is good to have good coaching, but, like ultimately you are your own guru. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking for the guru outside of you, you're always going to be lost. Like you got to do, like I once asked Kayotera who he studies, and he said nobody and everybody. He said he can learn from anybody, but if he studies people, that means he's doing stuff that's already been done, and he's trying to do stuff that's never been done. You know what I mean? So we don't want to just like limit ourselves by what someone tells us we can or can't do.
Right.
I can agree with that.
So that's why my journey has worked out the way it has. But also I'm like, not everyone learns the same way.
Right.
I was actually homeschooled for 6 years, so I kind of know how it is to like, your education's in your own hands.
Right.
And so I applied that to my jiu-jitsu and really everything, and so really, my advice to any beginners is do learn from everybody, but also do what feels best to you. Don't limit yourself by what someone tells you should or shouldn't do. Definitely take everybody's advice, learn everything you can, but you're on your own journey, so no one really should dictate too much of your jiu-jitsu, I'd say.
Yeah, when we first started I think I was the one that asked the question, and you broke it down because we were talking about the kind of compression of the calf from the knee slice or the arm drag or the leg drag position.
Yes.
I was like, where should we feel this? And you went into like a great explanation of it depends.
Yeah.
Right? It depends on your body. And the prime example is the leg lace position, right? John feels it as an arm bar. I feel it as a calf compression.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
a
like
knee bar, calf compression. That's right.
It's like it honestly depends on you.
Completely.
There's
not only
no right answer.
but then your opponent, like you in combination with everybody else, is going to be different every single time.
Right.
Like every match is like a fingerprint. There is not another one like it. So everything is completely situational always, right? I mean, if our arms are shaped differently, how a Kimura grip couldn't possibly be the same for all of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to find what works for you versus against everyone else and how their arms are.
Yeah.
It's different every time.
Do you think your body style really helped you out with the 10th Planet style? Because I noticed when you were talking about putting your knees to your chest, my knees don't go past my shoulders. Your knees definitely go past your shoulders. I was like,
sure.
Man, he's got some long femurs,
man. My whole life I resented my body. I always wanted to. I was like this long, gangly kid, and one of the most powerful things I ever learned is to just work with the tool I was given. You know what I mean? It's just like, instead of bitch about it, like everybody has their own attributes. They're good attributes, and so it's just like, if you're a shorter, stockier dude, then you got to learn how that game works. And yeah, you just got to learn to work with your tool. What is it? There's a bad farmer blames his tools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's some bullshit though.
Yeah. I tell Charles all the time, there's no such thing as a bad student. It's only bad teachers.
Yeah, and there's no best martial art. There's no superior martial art. There's only superior martial artists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've got a question because I've heard this twice in the last 2 weeks. So Travis will know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Prison rules.
You mentioned it. It's
Yeah, I
great.
did.
I loved it. I started laughing. I was like, we've been hearing about
Billy's
this.
already laughing in the background.
Yeah.
So I've never heard this term until a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
When I threw a wrist lock on our new black belt. But I didn't sink it.
Yeah.
But I threw the wrist lock, and at that point, the roll kind of stopped. And then I was told, well, now it's prison rules. And I'd never heard this term before. So what do you think? Is it frowned upon to throw wrist locks?
It shouldn't be. It absolutely should not
Heel
be.
hooks used to
it's-
be frowned upon.
So
they
it's a
did.
big part of my game.
Good.
Because I'm older, and when I'm rolling with younger guys, it kind of like helps me keep them away or make them be a little bit more cautious when I'm rolling. So if I'm rolling with someone that's better than me, I use them.
Yeah.
Because it kind of it helps me out.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I had heard the term prison rules.
Yeah.
And then you said it tonight.
Okay.
So
Funny.
I'm just curious because now I'm a little hesitant on my wrist locks if I should throw them or not.
I'm when I say prison rules, I'm totally joking. But at the same time, it's like, I actually saw this hilarious meme about wrist locks because everyone's like that John Danaher story about Dean Lister. Oh, how could you ignore? But wrist locks, how could you ignore 0.5% of the human body?
Right when you said, I was like thinking in my head, how could you ignore 0.25% of the body?
Yeah. No, but legitimately, like wrist locks are super real.
They are
super legit. They should not be frowned upon. They should be used.
It's joint manipulation.
Yeah, I was just
straight
curious.
up.
Now I'm like, well, is it really a bad thing to do?
I don't
or
see
is it
what's
not?
the
I'm
bad
confused.
part
Dude,
about it.
No. And
I love them too. Like he turned me on to wrist locks.
Yeah,
I've
I've been using them for years now because they really help me out. Because a lot of, like I said, I use them to move people around.
The first time he ever tapped me was at the wrist lock, and I was like,
2 years in. It was the first time I got him.
Whoa! I
Wow.
was like, what was that? I was like, he's like, it's a wrist lock, and ever since then, I was like, how to defend a wrist lock? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they're a game changer. I've hit a couple wrist locks on people because it's like an armbar position, right? If you can't break that arm, they got a good grip. Go for the wrist
That's
lock.
right.
Yeah,
Look, all you have to do is ask yourself, did it work?
that's where I'm at.
That's
I'm like,
it.
that's
And if it worked, it's legit. Now, at the same time, like, I would say it is. When I say prison rules, I'm totally joking. It's just funny.
Well, I was wondering if it's a real thing because even when me and you were rolling,
no, prison rules,
I was kind of
dude.
grabbing your wrist and I was like, should I try it?
You should have tried. You should have tried.
I'm not going to because I don't know how it's going to
No,
go.
you
over.
100% should have. Never, always try. And again, dude, don't let anyone stifle you. Even, you know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, if you want to talk prison rules would be like breaking fingers.
Yeah, no
Like
good.
a single joint,
yeah.
boom, or
manipulation.
thumbs in the eyes,
Yeah.
or grabbing the trachea. Okay, that's prison rules.
Oil
That's
checks.
yeah, that's street.
No oil checks here.
Yeah, right. So yeah, but no. Wrist locks are 100% legit.
So we were talking about it, and I kind of made the joke about it in the middle of the class of, is it okay to heel hook like a 13-year-old or whatever like that? Just joking. It was
Yeah.
Cooper.
That's right.
What rules do you have? Because obviously legs are a huge part of your game. What rules kind of do you have for brand new white belts coming into jiu-jitsu if they're under the 10th planet?
Sure. My rules are I teach everybody everything, but in a live roll, no white belt shall be heel hooked or throw a heel hook. Also, though, my reasoning is because heel hooks are so powerful that if you they can be a crutch, right? So my theory is, if you can straight ankle somebody, you can heel hook them. But just because you can heel hook them doesn't mean you have the ability to straight ankle them. So if you get really, really good at straight ankles, you're going to heel hook anybody you want to.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But if you just get so reliant on heel hooks that it'll honestly stifle your learning. I think I've just seen it happen so many times. You know, you get these guys day one, they learn heel hooks, and you got these like guys who've been training 6 months and they're heel hooking like good purple belts and brown belts. But then they finally get to a level where all of a sudden that's all they know, and they can't pass guards, and they get their guard passed, and they have, you know what I mean? It really does stifle them. So yeah, that's all. You know, not because, and they can be dangerous, but not even, they're more dangerous doing them to somebody who doesn't know what is being done on them, because you twist out. So
you
know,
twist the wrong way.
That's it.
You blow your own knee out.
So it's more to protect someone who doesn't know what they're doing than to like not hurt them, so to speak. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what BJ Penn against the
Ryan
Wizard Ryan Hall, right? Turned the wrong way, almost blew his own knee out,
Straight
right?
up.
And BJ Penn, it was a black belt in like 3-4 years, right? And turned the wrong way. I couldn't imagine someone that has 2-3 days into jiu-jitsu
that's scared,
right?
That has no
100%.
They're fighting for their life.
That's what
literally,
I mean.
That primal
no, they will
kicks
blow
in.
their own knee out. The person throwing the heel hook isn't blowing their knee out; they're blowing their own knee out.
Yep.
Right.
So that's why it's just like, just straight ankle them.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'd agree with that.
And that's in our school when we first started getting taught straight ankle locks and wrist locks. It was blue and up, right? And then same thing. It was like, don't straight ankle a white belt. Don't wrist lock a white belt, because, especially with wrist locks, because it takes
very little,
and it's on. And then if they try to jerk, boom, they can break their own wrist.
You know what I find is with girls, when I'm rolling with girls, like, they're so flexible that I let submissions go all the time because they're so flexible that they don't.
Riley.
They don't.
Riley.
Riley's
Riley's double jointed.
No, I rolled with her
You
today.
try an armbar her and it just keeps
Dude,
bending.
that's it. And I was like, I'm about to break your arm, and so I was like, nah, I'm not even gonna do it. You know what I mean? So
I put her in like X guard.
Yeah.
And I go for my tactical stand up X.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm gonna get this. And then she was also did judo for a while and gymnastics.
Sure.
So
well, that makes sense.
right, makes sense. So
Yeah.
she's very flexible, and I'm like going to stand up like with X guard, and her legs just keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Until
I'm
they
just gonna
don't. That's the thing. Until they don't. So I've seen more girls get shoulders broken from kimuras than anything, because they're like,
Really?
oh, I got flexible shoulders. I'm good. Snap.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's why I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and just stop this.
That's
right?
it.
Just
Like,
let it go.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like nothing against her. And first of all, Riley's
Well, she's a
15
gangster.
years old, and
Yeah.
she is
She's tough.
insane.
Yeah.
Like whenever we first started, we were all white belts, and honestly, if you want to put your weight on a 15-year-old girl, you're gonna stop her. But
Sure.
But
you can't beat her without that.
exactly. I was
Yeah.
about to say,
Yeah.
she would literally like her.
Yeah,
her
we take
dad-
it easy on her. Like, all right, we don't
She's
want to
like
put
forearm to throat, choking
she'd take
us
your
and-
elbow and she'd
I'm like-
grind it into your chin and dig it in. I was like, God damn,
That's
bro, all
right.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. And so, we actually recently we've been having a lot of women hit us up on our Instagram talking about how they want to hear more women on the podcast, because
I
it's
know
a
who you
complete-
should have on.
Who's that?
Amanda Lowen.
Who's that?
She's the first black belt in Oregon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first female black belt in Oregon, and she's actually training out of 10th Planet Portland now, and she's super legit, man. She's competing consistently. She's actually the title holder of Submission Underground right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you guys should have her up and do the whole thing, man.
Yeah, dude, let's
she's
do
cool.
that. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'll hit you up on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll
if
talk.
you
We'll
can-
talk it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
But like, because there's such a different aspect of, like, even when I'm rolling with a woman, and when we had Ashley Villanueva on our episode, if you guys haven't listened to that episode, great. She's a blue belt, great. But she would talk about how she would feel like guys would go easy on her.
Yeah.
She's like, no, just go. I'm only going to get better if you actually go on me.
That's right.
And I think
I hear a lot of women say that.
Right, and I think every guy has that mindset of, I don't want to destroy this person.
At the same time, that's also like a weird way to protect our ego, because if you try to destroy a girl and you can't, all of a sudden,
good. That's
all
a
of a
good
sudden you feel like, and so
That's a good point.
we
That's a real
we
good
do
point.
this own bullshit to ourselves. It's like, we're not trying to protect the women, we're trying to protect our own fragile ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I've been cussed
is
out.
that hitting
so-
home or what?
No, yeah.
I've been cussed
Yeah.
out before.
Yeah.
for rolling.
I think I did it.
Rolling
was-
too hard?
Yes.
I was not.
He was a white belt, and
Yep.
the woman was a
Blue.
multiple stripe blue belt.
Yeah.
Okay.
that
I
had
was probably
competed.
going 40%.
Okay.
I was not doing anything crazy.
Yeah, but
But,
I guess
yeah.
Wait, I'm confused. She was mad that you weren't going
No,
harder.
said
No,
I
because-
was going too hard, so
Oh.
stopped the roll and cussed me out.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the middle of it
Goes
because
both ways, the ego protection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
It was because she like had put him in an Americana, I think it was, or something like that, and he kind of just like muscled out of
Yeah.
it, and then she started getting frustrated, and then it was like, why are you going so hard? Blah blah blah, using all muscle, no technique, and then she just got up and left. And I've had this happen to me, but it was with a guy, and it was, and John was like so thrown off by it, he just left.
Wow.
It's like, what do you do after that?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
you know what
honestly, I roll with my daughters.
Yeah.
I'm not rolling hard.
Sure.
Like, I know
Yeah.
what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that. It was more like we were trying to X guard that night. So I was
Yeah.
just keeping her off while she was trying to pass. But yeah, it threw me off because like, am I rolling too hard? And then I had to think about it. But it did kind of mess me up because I was actually rolling with a lady in San Diego, and pretty sure her husband's a black belt. She was, I think, a brown. But I'm
She put
very
it on you?
cautious now when I'm rolling. And she even stopped me in the roll. She's like, you're rolling with me like we're just training, like we're drilling.
Yeah.
Like roll harder.
You know, the way I roll with women is I don't use any strength until I can't tap them anymore. Like my little sister's really good. Okay, she's a purple belt. You could have her on. She's dope. I'm telling you. She's like one of my.
She live in the area?
She is in Portland. Yeah, she works up here. She's up and back and forth, but she's like one of my like top disciples. You know what I mean? She like if I tell her to do something, she will do it. She is the most coachable. She's
That's
so
awesome.
dope. Her name's Amber Orchard. Okay, she's really cool. But so like I used to roll with her with no strength, and I would tap her out, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't tap her out with no strength. So now I'm like, I told her, I'm like, okay, well now I'm going to use
turning it up.
strength, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, and so now it gets pretty intense sometimes, you know what I mean? But I'm not holding back. I don't know. It's hard to navigate.
It is.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
very hard
And
to
it's
navigate.
even when I make the joke with friends that are white belts or whatever, if they get another stripe or because we're both blue, right? And so if they get their blue belt, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start turning it up on you now. Like, not saying that I was going easy on you before, but there's levels to everyone's game, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially when we're just training partners. Like,
Yeah.
if I know that you're not like at that level yet, I'm not going to go do these
like-
things.
Well, of
that-
course.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, but now that you're at another level, now we can add some more stuff into the
But
game.
at the same time, it's just like, okay, I remember I was in high school and we had this like Ukrainian national 7-time Ukrainian national champion come in, and I was like 15, and he was like a man, and he just beat the piss out of me, and he just. I felt like a mouse being toyed with a cat, and at the time I was a headstrong, disrespectful little punk, and I started like yelling at him. I'm like, "Well, you're not even like teaching me anything," and I'm like, "You're just beating my ass," and I was just whatever. I was an idiot, but I'll tell you what, the lesson of his ass beatings never left me.
Right.
What he did is he showed me what is possible.
Yeah.
And so even though at the time it felt unfair, I realized that he was teaching me, "Hey, dude, this is what can be done."
Yeah.
So like I rolled with everyone today, the kids and everyone, and like I used my moves on them. I foot swept people. I neon belly. Like I didn't really take it easy as far as technique goes. Obviously, I was way bigger and stronger than a lot of them, but like, yeah, it's like how can you be real in your jiu-jitsu, not take it easy, but also not be a bully? Man, there's so many factors, but
Right.
It makes me think one time I was rolling with Kyle Terra, who I'm a huge fan of Kyle Terra. I love Kyle. He's brilliant. He's cool. He's awesome. And which, by the way, Kyle weighs about, I don't know, maybe 135 pounds, maybe not that much. He's the heaviest person I've ever rolled with.
Wow.
Really?
He felt like he was 300 pounds,
Oh, okay,
dude.
yeah,
it was
yeah.
crazy. So anyway, I get him in a heel hook, and it slipped. Like I was going for it, but it slipped. And he just started chewing my ass. "You must finish the heel hook. You must finish the heel hook." And how am I supposed to know if I can get,
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. And I was just trying to be, I wasn't trying to be too respectful. Also, I wasn't trying to just rip his leg off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, dude.
I agree with that because before you jump in, I feel when I roll with higher belts, not that I go easy on them, but I don't want it to be perceived as I'm going 150% and I'm trying to like hurt these people or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I come from a strength and conditioning background. I
Yeah.
started off as in CrossFit and I have a little bit of strength, not a lot.
Yeah, you're
as
strong.
much as, and not
Yeah,
as
I
much as I
rolled with
used
you.
to, right? So
Yeah.
and I'm like I got told so many times, especially at the beginning, like, don't use your strength. Don't use your strength. And it's hard not to. So when I roll with higher belts, I think in my head, I kind of psych myself out. I'm like, don't use a lot of strength. Don't use
Sure.
a lot of strength. Don't try to tap them. Like, you know what I mean? And it's-
do
but
try
that-
to tap
and
them.
That's the thing. It's like, I think in my head, I'm like what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
just go for the submissions.
Yeah.
Like, or
Do.
like, if I catch something, don't let it go.
The
Like,
most honest thing, look, dude, I value authenticity
Yeah.
and honesty. And the most honest thing you can do is tap someone out if you can tap them out. You're a liar if you don't tap them out when you could have.
That's a great point.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that doesn't help them. It doesn't help you. It doesn't
Yeah.
help anybody. Plus, it's kind of dishonest, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, dude, just do it. You
I had
know
that
what I mean?
same scenario. Remember I told you in San Diego I was
Yeah.
rolling with a purple belt and I got him. I had it. I had the Ezekiel. And I was like, should I finish this? He's
Yeah,
like,
it's
"Oh, is he
a,
gonna
it's
get
a weird
pissed?"
thing. And
I was
I'm,
like,
I'm
is he
sh-
going to get pissed? I
Especially
don't
as
know
you
how
come
this
as
is
a
gonna go.
I have a dope quote I'm going to pull out, but you guys keep.
I'm sure like other white belts can attest to this. Like they think they're not supposed to like submit a higher belt, because one, it's that mutual respect. It's like, you're a higher belt, I shouldn't be able to submit you. So if I have this here, it's probably because I messed up or you're giving it to me, kind of idea. And that's what I think about.
I don't give anybody shit.
Right.
If somebody taps me, it's because they deserve it.
That's great. It's great to know, but I'm, it's because you always hear stories about like, oh, that purple belt gave you that submission, or it's like it wasn't your micro adjustments.
So check this quote out. I really, really love this. It says, I got this somewhere on Instagram. Kill the master. The strength of the team is based solely on the willingness of the master to show his students how to kill him. The stronger the students become, the closer to death he inches, the more cunning he must become. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, dude, it's just like it helps everybody to just be real. Now, at the same time, I also tell people, if you poke the bear, if you wake the bear up, now you got a pissed off bear.
Yeah.
So understand, like, I'll match your level. So if you start using pain moves on me, trust me, I'll use them back. You know, it's like, how much do you want to escalate this thing?
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's another thing too, is like, because when you first start off at jiu-jitsu as a white belt or even a very young blue belt, before you start fully understanding who you are as like, your blue belt is like where you begin to understand who you are as a person,
sure,
or as a practitioner,
yeah.
right? And I think, and a lot of people could probably agree with this, is it's like, if I tap this person, whether higher or lower belt, right, are they going to start turning it up on me too, or is it going to escalate to a whole new level of something? But honestly, I think if you get there, it's not that big of a deal. Just do it, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, like
You have to.
Dominic Cruz has a quote that I thought was fantastic. I had never heard it before, but he said, if you're a champion, you're not making everyone else below you better, then you're not a true champion. Right?
straight up.
Right? If everyone underneath you is not getting better to beat you, then you're not at a high level as
plus you also won't keep getting better.
Right.
You know what I mean? If everyone else around you is getting better, that means you are too.
Well, look at MMA now. Look at jiu-jitsu now. Look at competitive sports in general.
Yeah.
Because there was always someone willing and trying to get better and do something different. We have a level of sport now that is just like insane.
Yeah.
The amount of athleticism just normal people have.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's like you mentioned in the class, like the people having a good Kimura defense here or whatever, right? And it's because people got Kimura'd over and over and over again or whatever. And it's a true testament to just, if you get tapped or you tap someone, it's not a bad thing.
Dude, we
It's not a bad thing.
we are all standing on the shoulders of the people before us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we can't take too much credit.
Right.
You know what I mean? No one really can. So yeah, it's cool like that.
Even the origins of jiu-jitsu started somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying. You know
know?
what I mean? Like, no one can claim it.
Right.
Yeah. So shit, wrestling and running, they're the two oldest sports
Yeah.
to humans, so it all started somewhere long ago.
Yeah, so when you go to learn, is there a specific person that you look to or a specific thing that you want to like grow as?
Who are you searching for?
Yeah, I used to, but now I don't. Now
Really?
I don't study. Maybe that's bad to say. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, I watch everything and see nothing at the same time. Like, when I see things, I don't even see who's doing it. I either like it or I don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't care if a blue belt's doing it. Like, I've legitimately added things into my game that I saw a blue belt do. But at the same time, like, if I'm trying to be like someone else, then I'm not being me.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to be me. And yeah, I think some of the things that are teaching me the most right now, like I said, I'm messing with like different weapons. Dude, the weapons teach me so much.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like, weapons teach me a lot, and drawing teaches me a lot. Like, I never drew my whole life. I was actually a horrible artist, and I got tired of saying, oh, I'm a martial artist. I'm not an artist. One day I was like, no, I'm done with that. I'm going to be an artist now. So I started drawing, and drawing taught me about shapes and perspective, and everything is either a curve or an angle. That's all there is. And there's more extreme and less extreme of curves and angles, and then different sizes and how they fit into each other. And so, I can go disc golfing, and disc golf's dope, right? It's so fun,
especially up here.
And I can learn about martial arts while disc golfing. In fact, I used to think disc golfing was stupid until I saw someone throw a disc like a laser beam 400 feet, and I'm like, yo. If that had razor edges on it, dude, that's a weapon. Like, you're going to be lopping heads off. Like, ancient warfare, that'd be terrifying. A bunch of discs flying at you, dude.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
and
I agree.
So then I was like, okay, footwork and turning the hips. It's like throwing a punch. It's like, you know what I mean? So, man, I learned from quite literally everything I do, you know, and I try to bring it back to jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is my true passion, you know. Everything else I do, I really like to do. I like to draw, and I like the sword, and I like all these disc golf. I like all these things, just so I can bring it back to jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you mentioned earlier. Movement is movement, right?
Yeah.
That's like one of the first things you said in the seminar. It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter if you're throwing a kick. It doesn't matter if you're stepping through for a scissor takedown.
Or if you're just doing yoga.
If you're just doing yoga, right? Movement is movement. Your body can only move a certain way. In so many certain ways.
That's it.
Right? And then it's the application of that movement that turns it into, like you said, either it turns into a submission, a kick, or
a block,
whatever.
or
Right. It's all the same movement.
That's it.
No matter what it is. And that was a great thing. Like Roy Dean talked about, and another thing you said was about gravity, right? Jiu-jitsu works in certain ways because of gravity. If there was no gravity, if someone's in mount, now you're in their guard.
That's right.
Or whatever, right?
That's right.
Like it's because of gravity that it works.
Yeah.
And Roy Dean talks about how his one advice for white belts would be get used to the ground because everything's forced into the ground, right? Like everything,
Straight
your
up.
back is on the ground, like their back is on the ground, your side is on the ground. Get used to that feeling of the ground, and then you become more aware.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, and so that's it's just crazy to think about the different aspects that all play in together. Like you wouldn't think things play into jiu-jitsu.
They do.
Right?
Everything. Well, what does Musashi say? Something like, "See the way broadly, and you see it in all things." Or once you see the way, you see it in all things.
Right.
There's the way.
Right.
And it's the same for everything you do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Prime example: baseball chokes. How do you hold a baseball bat? And it's a choke.
Totally. Or the way I said, you hold the wrist.
Right.
It's a sword grip or a baseball bat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Burrito. Like I didn't. Now I'm gonna be like, oh man.
Hey, I can remember that. Even with me and Travis were drilling.
You could call it the beer if you do.
Travis
two-handing it.
Oh my God, you got it.
Yeah. John, what's funny is so John in his older age has a hard time with multiple step things, and we've talked about it a lot on the podcast.
Okay.
But so today he got the movement, and it was the sweep under into the leg lace, right?
Okay.
And he did it smooth, and I was like, yo, that had more than 2 steps, and you got the move. He's like, I know. I don't know what's going on. So when you go to teaching people, how do you teach for everyone, or do you kind of feel the room and then base it on that?
Well, the way my school is right now, it's been crazy with the pandemic and just all this stuff, but all I have is all level classes. Okay, I don't have fundamentals, I don't have advanced. I will legitimately have a first day ever person on the mat as the same time as a black belt. So, yeah, I have to teach classes for everybody. And it's really, really tricky. But, you know, one of the things I say is like, all right, let's say I show a big, long path. If you're advanced, do the whole path. If you're not, do not move on to step 2 until you understand step 1, you know? So, you know, there's that. So I kind of do feel the room for how I do things, but at the same time, like, you know, like I did some crazy stuff today. I showed you guys some crazy stuff, or even demonstrated it, just because I want you to know that crazy stuff is possible to do. Right. So kind of like the story I told about the motorcycle guys. I'll tell it really quick just so everyone else knows it.
It's a great story.
It is, yeah. Back in the day, evidently, and I don't even know for sure that it's true, but I know that I know
it
for
makes
sure.
A great story.
I know
Well,
for
don't
sure
say that. You said it like it was true.
Well,
We
I wasn't
believe it. We
conviction.
believe
All I
it.
know is I wasn't there, but it makes enough sense. So listen, supposedly back in the 80s, right before the internet, these motocross dudes in the Midwest, you know, all they had access to from motocross was magazines. And in the pictures of the magazines, it looks like dudes are flying through the air. And so they think, hey, these guys are flying like 10 feet in the air, so we should probably be doing that. Well, then they go out to a competition in California where everyone's like 5 feet in the air, and they're way higher than that. And so then these Californians are like, whoa, these Midwest guys are crazy. But the whole time, the Midwest guys thought the Californians were doing that.
Right.
You know? So if I can just like make you think that some crazy stuff is possible, then you will do that crazy stuff eventually. But if I say, no, you can't do that, then I'm going to limit you, and I don't want to do that. More than anything, I want to show people what's possible, even if you can't do it yet. You know, it's like today, I one of these guys, it was his first day of no-gi ever. And I'm like, look, dude, today was just planting a seed. The plant doesn't grow the day you plant it, drop the seed. It was just a seed that's going to grow into something.
Right.
But if I had never dropped that seed, maybe that kid's never going to hit a flying triangle in 10 years.
Right.
You know? So that's what it's all about. I'm just Johnny Appleseed throwing seeds of crazy jiu-jitsu out there.
So what's funny is when we all first start jiu-jitsu, especially when it comes to no-gi, like one of the first things you research is rubber guard, right? You're like, oh, I want to learn rubber guard. I want to learn rubber guard. Or, you know, Eddy Bravo has a lot of content out there.
Yeah.
10th Planet has a lot of content out there. Would you tell people to steer away from that, or would you kind of encourage them if they don't go to a 10th Planet school?
Yeah. Well, I would say that rubber guard, the real gold in rubber guard is mission control, which is just the first position. Because if nothing else, not to say necessarily for the street, but MMA, it keeps you from getting punched in the face. So you don't need to learn all the crazy, weird intricacies of rubber guard, but everyone should learn mission control if they don't want to get punched in the face or if they're thinking about MMA. You know what I mean? So does everyone need to learn a Hindulotine or a Dead Orchard or a Gogo Plata? Maybe not. But I think everyone should learn how to not get punched in the face. And rubber guard is really, really good for that, you know. But really, you know, I've seen guys that look like they should not be able to play rubber guard. Like bigger dudes and not that long of legs, but they're like rubber guard killers. So anyone can do it. You know, I really believe that. Like, you know what Lotus is, where you cross both feet over?
Yeah, yep.
I was 25 before I could do that. You know what I mean? And I had to make a clear decision in my head, like that is my goal. And it took me a year of stretching consistently to do it. So like, dude, anyone can do anything, you know, until you believe you can't. Right. So yeah, don't limit yourself. Ever, you know, if you, more than anything, if you want to do rubber guard, you should.
Right.
That's it. Really. You should never let anyone tell you to not do rubber guard. But people, that happens all the time. I hear crazy stories like, we do not play rubber guard in this school. And I'm like, whoa, dude, like, that sucks.
Why not?
That sucks for your students, man, because
jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu, bro.
That's it. You know, and again, like, how are you going to tell me how to paint a picture? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what jiu-jitsu is to me.
Yeah, we definitely have had, right, John, a couple of people say, you shouldn't do this, you can't do that.
Lots. It always aggravates me.
Yeah, but it's like, but wait, did it work? Does it work?
Jujitsu.
Yeah.
Malachi Freeman, we had him on our podcast, ATT, American Top Team Black Belt, under Ricardo Laborio, and he talks about junk jitsu. He's like, if it works, it works.
Straight
it doesn't
up.
matter if it has a name or not.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
That's
Junk
it.
jitsu, man.
Straight up, dude. Like, dude, the kid that just won the last CJJ against PJ Barch in the finals, the one of the twins out of Autos. Why can't I think of their names right now?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
too.
he hit him with a buggy choke, which when you look at it, you're like, stupid, not gonna work. Dude, it works. And like, again, man, we don't even know what's possible. So if someone tells us not to do something and then you stop doing it, you could be missing out on a game-changing new creation, you know? Yeah.
What? So when it comes to like combat jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, we see a lot of high-level 10th Planet guys up there. But when you honestly look at like UFC or IBJJF rules, why don't you think you see more high-level 10th Planet guys up there? Because the stuff does work.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think it's the rule set? Do you think it's the atmosphere? Or what do you think it is?
I mean, I think the rule set probably has like a lot to do with it, you know, because I know specifically for me, and this was a problem even back in high school wrestling, I was always getting my ass kicked until I won. You know what I mean? And like, if you go and watch Shugyo, it's a tournament I won a couple of years ago. It's a submission-only, no time limit thing. in every match, I start off in bad positions. Like, I just instantly get in bad positions. Maybe that's because I have really shitty jiu-jitsu. Or maybe that's because I like to lull you into confidence and then attack when you think I can't attack you. Now, in IBJJF, that doesn't work as well because it's a shorter match and there's all these rules and stuff. But in no time limit, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
You passed my guard? Whoop-de freaking do. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
In a street fight, does it matter? No, it only matters who wins. You know? So, like, I don't know. I think it's a mentality. You know? Like, well, I mean, I don't really know that much at all about the IBJJF, but wasn't it created by the Gracie Baja organization?
Yeah.
Okay. If you look at their style dictated the IBJJF rules. So obviously they're really good at that. But then you look at like submission only stuff, you see a lot of 10th Planet guys.
Yep, I was going to say that's
because
what I'm saying.
that was made by their rule set. You know what I mean? Like we all are definitely styles make matches, and styles can and rules can dictate these things.
Yeah, it's not to say that 10th Planet stuff can't work, because Tony Fergus is a prime example.
Yeah.
Right? Highest level MMA fighter, and he hits Imanari rules.
Yeah.
Like, he does all the stuff that shouldn't work in MMA because you'll get punched in the face, and he does it. You know what I mean? And he's great. And so that was always a question that I had to myself. Like, why don't we see more of this?
I also think it's because we just don't care as much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's just what we're as interested in, as like the submission only, no time limit kind of things. But
EBI rules.
EBI rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess. But also, 10th Planet it's getting to be an older school, but like it's younger than a lot.
Yep.
It's younger than a lot of
younger
schools.
than Gracie Baja, Carlson Gracie.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So time to catch up and things like that. But yeah, I mean, Eddie just doesn't put an emphasis on that. But like, dude, you go to I don't know, take it for what it's worth. I mean, the level of tournaments and stuff. But like, dude, I mean, Nagas get dominated by 10th Planet.
Yeah, that's
there's
right.
all
It's
kinds
not
of tournaments
IBJJF,
out
it's
there
Naga,
that get dominated by
Yep.
10th Planet. Maybe not all these like point tournaments and stuff like that, but
Well, it's funny you say that. I think it was Z that asked you earlier how to prepare for the competitions.
Yeah.
And we talked to him a little bit while you were gone, and I
Okay.
asked him about it because I was curious what he was really talking about there. And some of that was, you just hit on it, time limits, points, and submissions.
Yeah.
So when I was getting ready for the competition, I had a hard time in here getting ready for it because it was point-based.
Yeah.
So a lot of our training for it was, even if I was in a dominant position, they wanted me to move. You can't sit there for 3 seconds. Move. You got to, like, all these transitions. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to get in that dominant position. I don't care how long I have to hold it. I just want the submission.
Yeah.
I don't care how long I have to stay there.
That's what I'm saying.
So when I went and did the competition, my actual mindset was, I don't care about points at all. I want the submission.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Exactly.
And it took, like, all the pressure off of me
Yeah.
because I didn't care about all
But
that.
that's a mentality.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. 10th Planet, our mentality is like, fuck points.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
That is
That's
so,
why EBI rule
it's
set is
so,
the way it is.
Exactly. It's so arbitrary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
You got to take down. Good job. But did you submit me?
You took me down to my guard, which is really where I want to
Yeah,
be, you know?
right.
So it's kind of stupid.
Well, it was funny talking to him because he's like, well, when I go into it, I'm going to rack up 14 points real quick.
Yeah,
And then
that's
I'll work
it.
the submission. And
Yeah.
I was like, all right. But to me, I was like, I don't care if you rack up 50 points. I'm going to try to work that submission and just end it.
That's
Right.
it.
But,
Right.
Straight up.
If you're hunting for points, you're probably missing out a submission. If I'm hunting for a submission, I'm going to probably find a submission
Well, I
a whole
always
lot
felt
sooner.
like it went against, for me and like my jiu-jitsu so far, like for me, it feels like jiu-jitsu is the submission. Like that's all I want to work to.
Dude,
like,
you said it right there. And not only that, because back in the day, like I said, I didn't know what jiu-jitsu even meant. I thought, my idea of it was get the submission as fast as you could. I always thought of it as making the kill with the drawing of the sword.
Right.
Like the shortest path to the submission. I
Right.
thought that's what jiu-jitsu meant.
Right.
Not like this big, long, crazy
Yes.
thing. No, I'm talking like how quickly can I submit you?
That's why you shoot deer in the heart,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
well, I was like,
try
I
to-
don't want to go 5 minutes. I want to end this as fast as I
That's
can
right.
so I
Yeah.
can recover
That's
for the
right.
next one.
That's right. Or in a life and death situation, you're not playing a long game.
Right.
You want to be in and out and done.
Right.
You know.
So we try to target this podcast for beginner practitioners. Most people that we have hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, are people that have just started jiu-jitsu, and we do a question every single time of, what would your advice be to a brand new white belt starting jiu-jitsu?
Oh, just have fun. Like, don't try to win. Don't try to win. Don't try to be the baddest dude in the room. Don't try to just like win, or just have fun and observe. You know what I mean? Like, don't put a bunch of pressure on yourself. Seriously, just have fun. Because like I was saying earlier at the seminar, you won't get good at something if you're not having fun. Or let me put it this way. You'll get good faster if you're having fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, legitimately, if I could just go back and tell young Nathan something, I'd be like, bro, relax.
Yeah.
Just chill out.
Relax the body.
Yeah.
Just chill out. And not just the body, but the mind and all the worries and all the this and then that. You know, it's just like, sometimes our trying is the thing that's in our way. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's just like a dog chasing its tail. It's like, you're chasing yourself. What are you going to do when you get it? Nothing. There's nothing. Just stop. Just chill out. Be cool. Have fun. Be in the moment. Don't do it for any other intention than you like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're trying to prove something to somebody, I mean, like, dude, I just see it all the time. I just see all these guys like trying to prove how badass they are. If you have to prove you're a badass, that means you're not a badass.
Right.
That's exact by its nature in the statement. I must prove I am a badass. Badasses don't prove they're badasses. You know what I mean? So just, you know, the most badass thing a guy could do is not give a fuck what anybody thinks.
Right.
That's why you wear the fanny pack, bro.
That's why I'm wearing a J-Rub right
Bro,
now,
I'm
baby.
with you.
You know what I mean?
We have them.
Plus, I also like the whole like doing dorky things because
Me too.
Because I'm bad enough to where I'm a badass enough to where I can. You know, like, look, I'm
That's not me.
I'm a sensitive dude. You know what I mean? I really am. Like, when it comes to my family and my wife and relationship and my friends, like, I'm sensitive, right? But I am allowed to be sensitive because I know I'm a badass.
Right.
So I don't have to prove it. I'm not like afraid to prove my manhood, you know,
Right.
because I know myself. I have proven it to myself. So it's like I'm more free to just be me because
Yeah,
I
that
believe in
self-confidence.
myself. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You know.
We have a friend who is a blue belt now, but he was a senior chief at the time in the Navy. And at the end of his day, at the beginning of his day beginning of his day, he would tell all of his junior people, like,
Oh, yeah.
he's like, hey, this is how it is, blah 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 blah, and he's like, and if you have a problem with it, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:00, you can meet me on the mat. And
They
one
did.
guy took him
Yep.
up, and he
Straight
whooped him up and down the mat, bro. He's all like, he said, now you're gonna listen to me, right? He said,
Yeah.
all right, thanks. Walked away.
That's it.
You know, a lot of people that we talk to that talk about why they start jiu-jitsu is because of that same reason, right? They want to have that self-confidence. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm hard to kill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily hard to kill, but
No.
it's
I get what you're saying.
You know
Of
what I'm
course.
saying? And it's a great feeling knowing.
Well, it's a
that-
primal, like, dude, the most natural animal instinct is to survive,
right,
period. And
Right.
jiu-jitsu is the practice of survival.
right.
You know what I mean? So
Roy Dean talks about that too. What did he say, John?
On which one?
About losing when you first start off, and it's like my bloodline's gone.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that tap means death. And it's like,
yeah,
now
it's
I don't
I
have
would
to.
have died.
Yeah.
Like, It's like, it's not true, man. It's you get caught. It happens. I got caught by a brand new white belt today. It's like I put myself in a bad position. He capitalized on it, and then
Sure.
that was the end of it.
Totally.
It's
My
like, what
definition of
happens?
badass has changed. So to me,
Yeah.
once I see the same person on the mat for like a couple months, white belt, blue belt, whatever, they're instantly a badass because
Right.
they just showed up over and over again. On
Hardest
this
part
mat.
showing up, right?
Straight up, dude.
Like that's to
That's
me,
the
that's all.
truth.
It, like, you know, we got a bunch of those new white belts. You know, the guy's having a hard
Yep.
time tying his belt and shit.
Yeah.
He showed up now for what, like 2 months.
Yep.
I'm like, you've already made it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
just keep
you're
showing
you're
up.
you
cool,
can
dude. That's it
consecutive-
right there.
Yeah,
Like,
if you can
you've already got it.
consecutively show up knowing that you're just going to get your
Yeah.
butt kicked over and over
Yeah,
again,
That means you're a badass.
You're a badass.
Yeah.
You're a badass.
like,
Yeah.
what else did you have to fear in life?
Yeah.
like
You don't
well,
need
I'm gonna
it.
get my
Yeah.
ass kicked,
Yep.
but whatever.
Yeah, those guys, I'm like, man, you're badass.
No,
Like, you keep
I
showing
agree
up.
with that.
You're good.
That's truth.
Yeah. So, John, you got any more questions? for
No,
Nathan?
no, but I do want to say I really enjoyed your seminar, man.
yeah.
Thank
That
you.
was a lot of
Really
fun. I
appreciate
enjoyed
it.
it, and I learned something. So it was
Good.
great.
Well, then I didn't fail. If you learned at least one thing, I did my job.
I
Yeah, I learned
absolutely
a lot.
did.
Yeah,
Cool. Yep.
I'm telling you, he got more than a
Yeah,
two-step process, and
yeah,
it was
that
that was a
was
victory
it. I
for
was
both
like,
of us.
woo.
I was like, you just did that. He's
Yeah.
like, I know.
That's what's
So,
up. I love
Nathan, if people want to follow you or find out more about you, where can they find you?
I guess I'm most active on, not that I'm very active on social media at all, really, but Instagram, Nate Orch 10P. That's it. And other than that, I kind of just keep to myself, but I'm training constantly. So if you really want to connect with me, just hit me up and maybe come check my school out. You know, I'll always be there. You know,
And
what I
that's
mean?
10th Planet
10th Planet Seattle.
We should do it.
in
Yeah.
Bellevue.
Yeah.
In Bellevue. Not to be confused with walking around downtown Seattle looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, look, 10th Planet is a worldwide organization.
huge.
And no one worldwide knows Bellevue.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Seattle.
Right.
So I'm 10 miles from Seattle, less than that.
Trust me, we live in Bremerton, and everyone thinks we're in Seattle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
dude. It's just you know who bitches about it is the people that live in Bellevue. They're like,
can't it
well,
be
it's
10th Planet
it's 10th
Bellevue?
Planet. It says 10th Planet Seattle, but we're in Bellevue, and I'm like, dude, whatever.
It's a Seattle greater area. Relax,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like, it's not that big of a deal.
That's what's up.
It's like-
But no, you guys should come check out an open mat.
I would
these
love to.
days
Yeah,
or
yeah.
class
Once,
or
especially
whatever.
once everything calms down.
Of course.
You know.
You know what I mean?
It was great, and we love dropping in at other schools, and I don't compete, but I love dropping
What you
in at
mean
other
is you
schools.
haven't yet.
Okay, I haven't competed yet, but I have dropped in at multiple places, and I get that experience of rolling with other people.
That's the step below competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's still great.
I'm still exposing myself to people.
So different
Yeah.
roles and things you don't know. You're unsure and you're out of your comfort zone. So
yeah. Well, we greatly appreciate you coming on, Nathan.
Thank you guys.
so much.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah,
I had a
lot of
blast.
fun.
Yeah. The
Thank you.
seminar was great. The podcast was great. Everything was
Thank you.
was great,
thank
man. Thank you
Hopefully
so
we
much.
can do it again.
So if you guys want to follow Nathan more, there you go right there. Thank you again, Nathan, for coming on. I love what is it? So hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys, for listening. Later. Oh, and remember,
I'm not saying it, bro.
Keep your elbows tight.
it's
yeah.
actually it's no oil
No
checks
oil
here.
checks here.
I didn't know.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. All right.